In here. What's happening, y'all? Y'all know what we about to do. Y'all know where we going with it. Um, I'm gonna start off with a little bit of the self snitching at its finest, but we're gonna go. We're gonna keep going. Y'all know we gotta go to.
He has an affiliate named Skinny Me. For clarity, this is ARM. This is Skinny Me. Okay? ARM. ARM is a top goon from Philly. He's the guy who, when Drake was beefing with me, he's like, yo, I'm bumping ARM, all that type of stuff. He's one of them. He's one of the real guys, okay? I remember one time, he was on Vlad and he was describing how many times he got shot, and I'm like, this nigga is eating bullets like the Cookie Monster. I couldn't fucking believe it. This guy is the real fucking deal. Anyway, this guy, he's now doing 45 years. So ARM is doing 45 years in prison. Skinny Me just got a life sentence plus 25 years for murder. When I first saw it, I was like, damn, like, maybe they got it all wrong. These guys, they couldn't be as bad as these charges and these sentences are coming down to say. Skinny Me don't look like this clip. Listen to this shit. I've never heard some shit like this in my life. Hold on.
That's what I like about Skinny Me music, man. It's just raw. And it's like reality rap.
Mafia.
Skinny Me go through a situation, and guess what? It's gonna be in a song. It's gonna make a song about the same day. So I know that's why I feel so much. I know it. When he said I killed the nigga and I did that, I've seen him do it.
Whoa.
When he said somebody try to drop on me, not personally, not for the day, and I've seen him do it. I know he did it for a fact. That's what I like about Skinny Me music, man. It's just raw. And it's like reality rap.
Mafia.
Skinny Me go through a situation, and guess what? It's gonna be in a song. It's gonna make a song about the same day. So I know that's why I feel so much. I know it. When he said I killed the nigga and I did that, I've seen him do it. When he said somebody try to drop on me, not personally, not for the day, and I've seen him do it. I know he did it for a fact.
Yo,
That's why
Y'all hit the like button, man.
good on YouTube.
Hit that like button.
I heard that, I'm like, this sounds crazy. I tried to find the context. What context did he say that shit? Because he must have been playing. It must have been a joke. It must have been a troll. Right? So I went on YouTube to look it up. I found the whole fucking compilation. ARM. Self-snitching greatest hits. Trust me.
Hey, what's up?
There's a listen, let me just click on it. If this comes up, your greatest hits.
Hey, what y'all think about this whole thing with Iran and the US, man?
Let me find
They're
it.
saying that the gas prices already done went up today, y'all. Gas prices done went up today. Look for gas prices to go up $3 or $4. So gas probably gonna be $5 a gallon, all because of Donald Trump. First we had the tariffs, now we got basically on a war right now, y'all. We's on a war right now, y'all. What y'all think? Let's talk about it. What y'all think about it?
This is not a scam. The Health Food Allowance card is available for those on Medicare. This card can be worth a...
Welcome back to Scandalous Los Angeles TV, where we expose the exposers. In part 1, we explored the FBI's new iteration of its counterintelligence program, COINTELPRO, now repackaged under the black identity extremist stigma. We uncovered how the powers that be have sought to prevent the rise of a black messiah, going to extreme lengths to track and control every movement in the black community. Not only did we examine these covert tactics to suppress black empowerment, but we also pinpointed the reasons behind the surveillance and targeting. Today, we're shifting gears to discuss the godfather of CS2Back's Cointel cabal. This mystery man is the only one you've ever heard of, who can be both a suspect and an informant in multiple murders. Not only was he a former Compton police officer, but thanks to his association with, he also found himself in the presence of numerous A-list celebrities. This unique combination made him the perfect candidate and camouflage for law enforcement agencies and wealthy elitists seeking to infiltrate, discredit, and/or neutralize potential threats.
Reggie Jr. was a police officer. I believe he'll talk about his past, but he started off in the jail and then worked also in Compton. But Reggie Jr., he ended up, and I don't want to tell this story for him, but he ended up having an injury and retiring from the police department. And as you know, he's got a business mind, so he started his security company. And growing up with some very high-profile people like Suge Knight and in that Compton area, he was able to, along the way, connect with them and be the head of security, which is a pretty damn big deal for Death Row Records, and was with them for a period of time, and very well-known guy. I want to give a shout out to his platform, which is Bomb First. He has his t-shirt on right now, and we do have some giveaways later in the day that Gina's going to be in charge of. But if you're not familiar with Bomb First, if you go to YouTube, take a look at it. He's got a very powerful platform. And if you want to know the truth about anything, Reggie Jr. is that guy. And when you see him on his YouTube channel, if you follow him like I do, whenever he's leaning into the camera, click on that video because it'll be something good.
Reggie Wright Jr. became an invaluable asset to those in power, using his position to manipulate and control from behind the scenes, furthering agendas that sought to destroy black success and empowerment. These informants, who gained notoriety only through their connection to Marion Knight, are now fighting to maintain their covert roles, continuing to work behind the scenes while telling stories about Death Row Records. DJ Vladimir Lyubovny makes his federal futon fluffy for these informants as they lie and implicate others in murders to cover up the murders of Tupac Shakur and Christopher Wallace.
So when you hear the theory that Poochie was the shooter, what is your take on it?
Right on us.
I had a talk with Greg Kading about this, and I have my notes. So according to Greg Kading, Poochie killed Biggie. That's the story, I believe. And Poochie was an associate of Suge? Whatever the story is that Greg is pushing, is what I believe.
This is what you would want. So, Suge and Poochie killed Piggy. I done heard it. You ain't Red, John. That's how y'all feel. Y'all just about y'all scared for Suge to get out, huh? These niggas is cold niggas. Reggie Wright, your ass down there died, nigga. Corona. And you still talking, nigga. Boy, niggas gonna let you for that box shit though.
Romans 8:28 reminds us that God works for the good of those who love him. You may be feeling stuck or uncertain, but don't forget, God can change everything in an instant. That's why you need to know that if you're over 50 and still haven't claimed your $25,000 burial benefit, which gives your family $25,000 when you pass away, you're about to miss the life raft God has sent us, as the deadline to claim it is this Friday. This benefit is backed by the state, meant to help you with final expenses, burial costs, and other unpaid bills. It's a commitment we're all obligated to receive, but if you don't claim it before Friday...
But you still talking, nigga. Boy, niggas gonna let you for that box shit though.
So you just heard Reggie and Mob James go on Vlad TV and place the murder of Biggie on Marion Knight. K9 from Swans responded in disbelief, expressing his distaste for the lie snitching that he heard them both do. Because Reggie was upset with K9 for his statements, he decided to go on Clubhouse and lie on him in pure Cointel fashion. Before I play the Cointel Clubhouse recording, I want to read what Reggie said about Suge in this article. I wasn't under the impression about him being an informant. I just know he has rat things in him. The two things that come to mind when I hear Lloyd speak on those issues is that I know he did do this or can do this. The one thing is when he was doing his time in jail for the probation violation on the state side, he knew he had a... Welcome back to Scandalous Los Angeles TV, where we expose the exposers. In this video, we're about to reveal something that's been hidden for ages, an ideology that has been deliberately concealed by those in power. For years, the FBI and other powerful systems have focused their attention on one group in particular, and today, we'll uncover why. We're going to explain, for the first time, why the FBI has consistently placed its focus on black people, why they actively search for a messiah figure within our communities, and why they've gone to such extreme lengths to monitor, infiltrate, and control our movements. We'll dive into the history of programs like COINTELPRO and the Hip Hop Cops, all designed to disrupt any potential black leader or movement that could challenge the status quo. We'll also reveal how figures like WAC 100 and Reggie Wright Jr. have played roles in perpetuating these tactics, serving as tools to divide the community while claiming to represent it. The powerful elites understand that the emergence of a black messiah would disrupt their control and dominance, which is why they've made us the primary focus of their surveillance and efforts to maintain the status quo. What's been concealed will finally be revealed, and the real reason behind their focus on black people will come to light. Many of you may be thinking that Hoover's COINTELPRO is just a thing of the past. However, we're here to tell you that it's far from gone. In fact, it's still very much alive, just operating under a different name.
In a new version of the counterintelligence program, talked about black identity extremists.
According to a leaked FBI document, there's a new group of domestic terrorists. Black identity extremists.
Black identity extremists, now considered a domestic terror threat by the FBI.
And they've got the Moorish Science Temple and the followers of Noble Drew Ali, and they didn't mention us, but we know they come.
TYT's Ken Klippenstein has an exclusive and an amazing article where he has obtained leaked FBI documents that reveal the Bureau's priorities under Trump. And they kind of underscore some things we'd kind of heard in the past, but definitely prove what a lot of us were afraid of. And let's get right to it. Under President Trump, the FBI's official counterterrorism priorities have included black identity extremists, anti-authority extremists, and animal rights/environmental extremists, according to leaked Bureau documents obtained exclusively by the Young Turks. So grave did the Bureau consider the threat of black extremists, Ken writes, that from 2019 to 2020, using new designations, it listed the threat at the very top of its counterterrorism priorities, above even terror groups like Al-Qaeda.
And guys, in case you think that it was like a random discriminatory list, meaning like, hey, it could have been that they were going to put it in alphabetical order, but they just happened to put black identity extremists at the top, etc. No, it was in order. And white supremacist extremists, which have been doing most of the killings in this country since Trump's taken office, were ranked only a medium threat.
Yeah.
So all these mass shootings, the synagogues, the mosques, the malls, everything, that's a medium threat. At the very top was black people, black people, black people. And the FBI, these are their documents. We obtained their documents. This is not our opinion, okay? Did they cite a single black extremist attack? Not one. Not one.
In 1956 and 1971, the FBI ran a counterintelligence program named COINTELPRO that was initiated by J. Edgar Hoover. COINTELPRO mainly targeted civil rights leaders. So I would like to ask Mr. Chair unanimous consent to enter this report into the record, which is black identity extremists likely motivated to target law enforcement officers.
For us, it's not about the ideology, it's about the violence. That's where we weigh in. It's not that the ideology isn't important for us as Americans, but we only investigate violence. and the crimes that go with the violence.
But so
I wanted
under
to
the
make
racially motivated violent extremism, how many African American or black groups are considered under there?
Well, again, I want to be clear. We don't investigate groups per se. We have properly predicated investigations into individuals, and in some cases they may have co-conspirators. But in each of those instances, it's where we have three things: credible evidence of a federal crime, credible evidence, number two, of violence or threat or use of violence, and then number three, on behalf of some ideology. So if we have those things, only if we have those things will we open an investigation.
So, are white supremacist groups under racially motivated violent extremism? Or do white supremacists have a whole separate category?
Well, again, I want to stay away from the use of the word groups. We certainly investigate white supremacist motivated violent extremism in the same category that we're talking about. So, for example, we just last month arrested 8 members, I think, of a group known as the Base. And there were arrests that were made not just in my home state of Georgia, but also in Maryland.
Getting ready to go to Virginia, correct? That was the group that was on their way to Virginia?
I think that's right. I can't remember that detail specifically.
So there are organizations, and I understand that, when you say you just investigate individuals, I mean, you just gave an example of a group. So I know that there are a lot of white supremacist groups. And so my question to you is about black groups. And so I don't know, maybe they're black individuals, but under the category of black identity extremism, formally, there were organizations such as the one in Texas and the individual in Texas that was arrested. He was incarcerated for a while, and then after being incarcerated and going on trial, he was released. He had activity on a website, and he also had literature when he was arrested. Are you familiar with the case that I'm talking about? We've talked about it before.
I think so, yeah.
So my question is, are there African Americans or black groups or individuals that are currently a part of the racially motivated violent extremism category?
Well, again, I don't know that I would speak in terms of investigating groups. We investigate individuals, and in some instances, individuals with co-conspirators. And I would say certainly there are individuals who we categorize and track under the racially motivated violent extremism part of our program management, who are African Americans targeting others. So for example, you probably saw some of the reporting about the killing of the individuals in Jersey City, including the killing of the people in the kosher supermarket.
I did.
Those individuals were associated themselves with something called the Black Hebrew Israelite,
Oh, I'm very familiar with them. So
that would be in that category.
So let's use that as an example, because I'm very familiar with that group. Use that as an example because I'm very familiar with that group. That group is in several what'd you say? Yeah, well, excuse me, but I'm taking the prerogative of the chair. Using that group as an example, is that a group, because they are open, you see them on street corners in different groups. They're not a secret group at all. You see them on street corners in different groups. They're not a secret group at all. Is that group part of the racially motivated extremism? The group. I understand the act that took place. I understand the individuals, and it's not clear their level of association.
What I would say to you on that is that we have some investigations into individuals who associate themselves with that movement.
Beyond those two people?
Yes.
Okay.
So as you guys just witnessed, the FBI has a new name designated for black people who are concerned with racial injustices. That name is Black Identity Extremist. In their memo, the FBI has deemed Muslims, Moors, black militias, and others as black identity extremists. When the mayor asked the FBI director to give an example of a black identity extremist, he provided no examples, other than the one he gave concerning the group referred to as the Black Hebrew Israelites. Since he named Israelites, I'm going to show you just one example of how their misinformation campaign works.
Jewish people run Hollywood, or Jewish people run the music industry. These are the things that we've been hearing recently. Explain to us what those terms mean to you, and is it hurtful? Is it painful? Is it not? Is it, what is it to you? Like, if you ask me, the N-word, how does that feel? And this, that, and the other, we can define that, but how does that feel to you? And what can we say? What can't we say? What is foul? What is not foul?
But look, DJ. So when we talk about what is anti-Semitism, it's a crazy, it's ISIS radicalized person coming from the UK thinks the Jews have too much power. It's two white supremacists getting off a subway train at Penn Station because they've heard that they wanted to go shoot up a synagogue. It's black Hebrew Israelites. Black Hebrew Israelites.
The man speaking's name is Jonathan Greenblatt, and he's the head of the ADL. You're getting ready to witness him run a campaign of misinformation right in front of Charlemagne and DJ Envy. The FBI said that black Hebrew Israelites are black identity extremists. One of the main objectives of COINTELPRO was to discredit any black leader or organization before it can influence the minds of the people. I want you guys to listen to what the head of the ADL says in the ears of millions of listeners.
Black Hebrew Israelites this weekend. What today's Monday? Tuesday.
Wednesday.
What's going to air on Wednesday?
Sorry. So it is over this past weekend in Staten Island on Sunday, a Jewish man who he must have been Orthodox because you could identify that he was Jewish, and his son were shot by a young man with a pellet gun as they came out of And so when he was asked by the police, they said it was a hate crime. He said, how could it be a hate crime if I'm a Hebrew?
So Jonathan Greenblatt was allowed to go on the Breakfast Club in front of the whole world and make up a complete and total lie on black people. He just blamed Hebrew Israelites for shooting a Jewish man and his son with pellet guns.
This is the kind of fiction.
Got it! Got it!
And the black Hebrew Israelites say that white Jews, quote unquote, aren't really Jews.
This statement is completely false. The fact that major news outlets like CBS News, NBC News, and CNN all reported on this incident without showing the identity of the alleged shooter should raise red flags in your mind. The coordinated coverage without providing key details suggests a deeper issue, especially considering the connections between these media organizations, the ADL, and other influential companies like iHeartMedia, which owns The Breakfast Club. When you look at the ownership structure of these companies, it becomes clear that they are all part of a larger network, which explains why this misleading narrative was allowed to be promoted. This is the actual shooter, Jason Kish, a Caucasian male. Yet we just heard the head of the ADL go on a platform hosted by black men just to spread a false narrative about black people. This is just one small example of the forces working against us, and it serves as further proof that there's a hidden agenda being carried out right before our eyes. When you understand their agenda, it becomes easier to recognize the foot soldiers that they've employed.
You Hebrew Israelites, Captain Desariat, you and your whole team, because I got into it with them, bro. Because they be out here, or Hollywood, when they come out here, and they be harassing like fucking white people, the ladies and shit. Okay. They're making them kiss their boots, talking about for the sins of your ancestors, of what they did to our people, repent for their sins and kiss the boots. And I said, listen, bro, see out here we got Nazi lowriders, we got the Aryan Brotherhood, we got the Hells Angels, we got bike clubs and shit, right? We have penitentiaries that if they see that shit, bro, if they see that shit, it can roll downhill. And these dudes be doing this shit and running back to New York. And I'm like, listen, bro, this is real shit. You ain't getting no time. You ain't been in these penitentiaries. You're doing this type of shit. A video like that gets out, and now we got our innocent aunts and nieces and nephews and uncles being targets.
So you're scared of white racists? Imagine CS2 back, going to a man who has the Baphomet symbol of Satan tattooed on his right hand to debrief on camera about black men reading the Bible on the corner. Adam 22 is a big part of the machine moving against us, and a lot of our people would sell their souls to the God he worships, just for a seat on his podcast. If the satanic symbol that Adam has tatted on his hand means nothing to you now, I promise you it will, by the end of this video. From the early days of the civil rights struggle to the rise of hip-hop, black communities have been subjected to monitoring, infiltration, and disruption by law enforcement agencies, particularly through covert programs like COINTELPRO and more recent designations like the Black Identity Extremist label. The question everyone should be asking is, why? Why are they so determined to monitor our every move? What is it about us that makes us the focus of their attention? We're not the only people on the planet with melanated skin, so it can't simply be about our skin color.
We come eat in the restaurants in Louisville. We come eat downtown. One day I saw two Africans go in with their ropes and their interpreters. They couldn't speak English. I heard the man say, "Let them in. They're not Negroes. They're not Negroes. They're not Negroes." And I said, "Something's wrong. I can't say it's because I'm black. Something's wrong. I can't say it's because I'm black. Something's wrong. I can't say it's because I'm black, because they're so black and they're blue that they were in."
It has to be something deeper than that. What is it about the black man in America that makes the oppressor associate a messiah with him to begin with?
Just because you're different, they always want to kind of put somebody into a box.
Well,
Right.
that's the shallow end of it. On the deep end of it, they have an idea that there's a Messiah coming. They have an idea that there's a Messiah coming. They have an idea that there's a Messiah coming, and they're not sure who it's gonna be. They just know it should stick out. So they look every time something sticks out to make sure that's not it.
Where is that concept even coming from? When you study your oppressor, as he has studied us, you'll realize that his mistreatment of us has nothing to do with the color of our skin. It's only about who he believes we are as a people. Remember, this isn't about my personal beliefs or yours. You can be a Buddhist or an atheist or whatever belief system you might hold to. This is only about our oppressor and what he believes about us. Once you understand that, it makes it easier to understand why they've gone through such great lengths to tear down and discredit any and every one of us that might have a voice. It doesn't matter if your stance is Islam and your message is by any means necessary, like Malcolm, or if you preach nonviolence along with white Jesus like Martin, they still deem us public enemy number one, which also shows you that this is deeper than one's religion. I hate to be long-winded. This video is still about the exposers and their hip-hop coppish ways. But I have to address this part first to make it all come together. Now, since we're talking about Black Identity Extremist, COINTELPRO, and preventing the rise of a Black Messiah, I think it's imperative that I focus on Black people specifically for this video. However, I can't tell you who the oppressor believes you are, without telling you who he believes the Hispanics and the natives are as well, because the oppressor's beliefs lump us all together. Now, in 3 short steps, I'm going to show you who the oppressor believes the indigenous peoples of the Americas are. First, I'm going to show you a clip from a movie about Christopher Columbus. I did not write the script, nor did I direct the movie, and I had absolutely nothing to do with the production of the film. Then I'm going to read a verse out of the Bible that was written before I was born, and before English was even a language. So I didn't write it. Then last, I'm going to read a short definition found in the Jewish Encyclopedia, which was also not written by me. At the end of those 3, you'll know, without a shadow of a doubt, who the oppressor feels the Hispanics and the natives are. So we'll start right here with this movie. It's called 1492 Conquest of Paradise, And it's all about Columbus and his voyage to the New World, or the Americas. I want you guys to listen to what is said in this clip.
Why did you wish to sail west? To open a new route to Asia. Asia is the richest kingdom, the land of spices and gold. At the moment, there are only two ways of reaching it. By sea, sailing around the African continent. The journey takes a year. Or by land. But the Turks have closed this route to all Christians. There is a third way. By sailing west across the ocean sea. The distance is unknown. It's said to be infinite. Superstition. I believe the Indies are no more than 750 leagues west of the Canary Islands. Did you be so sad? The calculations of Toscanelli, Marandotti, Esdras. Is that true? So what's west? The calculations of Toscanelli, Marandotti, Esdras. Is that true? So what's west? The calculations of Toscanelli, Marandotti, Esdras. Is that true? So what's west? 2 minutes, and already you're a dead man. For telling the truth? Yes. They are burning people for less.
Now let me make sure that you guys understand what just happened. Christopher Columbus set out on his voyage in 1492 with the goal of finding a new trade route to Asia. Due to certain obstacles, Columbus proposed a new route that would sail westward across the Atlantic Ocean, believing that by heading in that direction, he could reach Asia faster. The guy who was talking to Columbus told him the distance was unknown. As you can see, one part...
The guy talking to him probably knew the distance of the trip to America if he was coming here. He might have knew. Also... African people already led him to America. See how that shit works? African people led Christopher Columbus to America. So basically, we probably already knew how to get here before anyway. Through our brown brothers and sisters too.
His map is filled out, and the other half is blank, because they had never been on this side of the world. When Columbus was asked how could he be so certain that there was land here, he gave him the calculations of a few different men. One of those men's names was Esdras. If you're watching the movie and you don't know who Esdras is, then of course that part will go right over your head. Esdras is a prophet in the Bible, and apparently there are a few passages in there that made Columbus certain that there was undiscovered land across the Atlantic. So next, we're going to read the Bible verse that Columbus was talking about and see where that takes us next. But before we get to that scripture, I want to point something out that shouldn't be overlooked. Notice how Columbus gave the calculations of two other people besides Esdras when explaining why he felt he could sail across the Atlantic Ocean.
Superstition. I believe the Indies are no more than 750 leagues west of the Canary Islands. Did you be so sad? The calculations of Toscanelli, Marandotti, Esdras. Is that true? So what's west? 2 minutes, and already you're a dead man. For telling the truth? Yes. They are burning people for less.
Notice that the guy he was speaking to only had a problem when Esdras' name was brought up. Showing that for some reason, even way back in the 1400s, the oppressor felt there was something taboo about what was written in the book of Esdras. Now let's talk about Esdras. Esdras' writings can be found in all modern Bibles today under the name Ezra. Esdras is just the Greek pronunciation of the name. In addition to the book of Ezra, there are 2 more books written by him that most people have never heard of. The reason why most people have never heard of Esdras is because Esdras was included in the Apocrypha, which was a part of the Bible, until the oppressor had it removed. The King James Bible was originally published in the year 1611, and the Apocrypha was included in it. However, King James was not the first to have the Bible translated into English. In fact, there were 7 other English translations prior to the King James Bible, dating back to the year 1380, and 5 out of those 7 had the Apocrypha included in it. So now let's look at the scripture that made Columbus believe that there was land on this side of the world, even though his people had never been over here. All you have to do is read 2 chapter 13 and verse 40. Remember, guys, this isn't about my personal beliefs or your personal beliefs. This is only about our oppressor and what his belief is concerning us. The book of 2 Esdras, chapter 13, and I'll start at verse 40. Those are the 10 tribes. Those are the 10 tribes. Those are the 10 tribes, which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Osea the king, whom Salmanasar the king of Assyria led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. But they took this counsel amongst themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen, and go forth into a further country, where never mankind dwelt, that they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river. For the Most High then showed signs for them, until the flood, till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely, of a year and a half. And the same region is called Arsareth. Then dwelt they there until the latter time. And now, when they shall begin to come, so according to the Bible, after the 10 tribes of Israel were released from the Assyrian captivity, they left their homeland and went to a faraway land where mankind had not yet dwelled. It said, it took them a year and a half to get there, and Arsareth was the name of that region. It said that they would remain there until the latter days, until the time when they come back to remembrance. This is what the Bible says, and apparently, this scripture is the reason. Columbus believed there was land on this side of the world. Now, we're going to go to the Jewish Encyclopedia and look up the word Arsareth. Notice that when you search for Arsareth, spelling it the way it was written in the Bible, it won't give you the correct definition. Instead, it'll say Afghanistan. These are the kind of lengths they go to keep you from running into this. So when you spell Arsareth, you have to replace the S with a Z. Now let's read the definition listed in the Jewish Encyclopedia for the word Arsareth. And it reads, Arsareth, the name of the land beyond the great river, far away from the habitation of man, in which the 10 tribes of Israel will dwell, observing the laws of Moses, until the time of the restoration, according to 2 Esdras, chapter 13, verse 45. Columbus identified America with this land. Columbus identified America with this land. Columbus identified America with this land. This is the definition they give for the word Arsareth. And again, I didn't write any of this. But this shows you, without a shadow of a doubt, that the oppressor believes that the people who Columbus encountered on this side of the world were none other than the illustrious northern kingdom of the nation of Israel. You don't have to believe any of these things about yourselves. You can say it's all a lie. But I'm showing you that your oppressor does believe it, and he believes it wholeheartedly. So much so that he removes books from the Bible and purposely misspells words to hide definitions. I just showed you 2 explicit examples of him doing that. According to this definition, the 10 tribes of Israel will be in America until the time of their restoration. Remember that word, restoration, because when I finally tie this all together, I'm going to show you what the Bible says the restoration is. Now, anyone who's familiar with the Bible knows that Israel is one nation of people, consisting of 12 different tribes. If there are 12 different tribes, why does it say that only 10 of the 12 tribes sailed to Arsareth? What happened to the other 2 tribes? How did they get separated from their brothers? And who does the oppressor say that they are? That's the question. In about the 10th century BCE, something took place that dramatically affected the people of Israel and still affects them today. What was it, though? It was the Great Divide, which split the people into the kingdoms of Israel and of Judah. 1 Kings 12:16-19 tells us, "When the people saw that the king would not listen to them, they shouted, 'Down with David and his family. What have they ever done for us? People of Israel, let's go home. Let Rehoboam look out for himself.' So the people of Israel rebelled, leaving Rehoboam as king only of the people who lived in the territory of Judah. Then King Rehoboam sent Adoniram, who was in charge of the forced labor, to go to the Israelites, but they stoned him to death. At this, Rehoboam hurriedly got in his chariot and escaped to Jerusalem. Ever since that time, the people of the northern kingdom of Israel have been in rebellion against the dynasty of David. Ever since that time, the people of the northern kingdom of Israel have been in rebellion against the dynasty of David. So now we understand why all of the tribes were not together when they sailed to this side of the world. According to the Bible, the nation of Israel was split into 2 different kingdoms, the northern kingdom of Israel and the southern kingdom of Judah. And also, according to the Bible, the 2 kingdoms have been fighting with each other ever since. Just so you know, Judah is where the word Jew is derived from. Not Judaism or Judea, but Judah. Knowing this is key when trying to determine who the oppressor feels we are. Because yes, the oppressor believes that the Negro people brought to America on slave ships and scattered all over the world is none other than the southern kingdom of Judah, the royal line of the nation of Israel. This is where you get King David and King Solomon. They were both from the tribe of Judah. There was also another guy in the Bible, and he was called the Messiah. He also was from the tribe of Judah, and they called him the King of the Jews. And his name was Jesus Christ. The oppressor believes that if these 3 men were on the earth today, they would be considered Negroes. And the oppressor wholeheartedly believes that we are the descendants of these men. Now look at this, you guys. This is from a website called Black History in the Bible.
Hold on, y'all. This is these folk going in. Shout out to Most Scandalous Los Angeles TV. Shout out.
Owned and operated by a black man named Dante Fortson. In this section of his website, he shows maps of Africa dating all the way back to the 1500s. This is an ongoing project created with the goal of tracking the earliest and latest appearances of the Kingdom of Judah, WIDA, on maps. The Kingdom of Judah began appearing on maps in the early 1700s and disappeared from maps by the early 1900s. Multiple explorers, linguists, and historians believe the area contained the lost tribes of Israel. As we look at these different maps, please remember that I did not make any of these. The first map we're going to look at originated in the Netherlands in the year 1740. And as we zoom in, we can see the name Judah, plain as day, right on the west coast of Africa. Notice that in the top left corner, it says that this map can be found in the Harvard University Library. The next map we're going to look at was created in France sometime around the 1700s. It has mapped and outlined the entire west coast of Africa. Zoom on in, and again you see the word Judah clear as day. You also see the phrase Coste des Esclaves, which is French for the coast of slaves, or Slave Coast. The next map originated in Austria in the year 1795. Zoom on in, and once again you see the word Judah. When you look closer, you'll see the phrase Königreich Ardra und Dahomey Judah Ablia Engen, which translates to Kingdom of Ardra and Dahomey Judah descend. This map here was also created in France in the late 18th century. And as usual, zoom on in, and you see Judah right on the slave coast. For those of you who don't know, the Slave Coast is a historical region along the Atlantic coast of West Africa, encompassing parts of modern-day Togo, Benin, and Nigeria. It is located along the Bight of Biafra and the Bight of Benin, which is located between the Volta River and the Lagos Lagoon. The name is derived from the region's history as a major source of African people sold into slavery during the Atlantic slave trade from the early 16th century to the late 19th century. During this time, this coastal area became a major hub for the export of enslaved Africans to the Americas. European powers, including the Portuguese, British, Dutch, and French, established forts and trading posts in the region to facilitate the slave trade. The area was so named due to the high volume of enslaved people transported from its shores, profoundly impacting both the local societies and the broader Atlantic world. So you're probably wondering, if Jews are from Jerusalem, how did they end up scattered through Africa and Spain? According to our history books, the Arabs that occupy Israel today have been there since the 7th century. But a little more than 500 years before they got there, the original inhabitants of that land still occupied it. In the year 70 AD, the Roman Empire came and conquered Jerusalem. Since Israel is right next door to Egypt, the Jews ran into Africa trying to escape Roman persecution and slavery.
Many Jews fled to those parts of northwest Africa known as Tunisia, Algeria, Many other Jews fled to areas where Rome didn't have any jurisdiction. This was the region to the south, the Sahara Desert and the Sudan. You see, in the 1930s, it was an established fact that the regal class of Negro nomads exiled from the kingdom of Judah, that they resided in Songhai, in Mali, in Ghana, in Kenem, in Bornu, in the empire, and within the Onadu forest of Dahomey south of Timbuktu. Communities complete with Aramaic Torah scrolls. On page 90, From Babylon to Timbuktu, it says this: the black Jews had an advantage over the African tribes. Now, this is going to tell you why the native indigenous black Africans worked with Islam to trap the house of Judah and sell them to the Ashkenazi ship owners that were also Portuguese and British Ashkenazi ship owners. And that's the history we want to see. Because you've got to understand, the regal class of the house of Judah, came down from Israel, and they came into the land of the black Africans. And the black Africans resented the regal class of the house of Judah in their land because they had laws, they had customs,
It's getting deep, bro. We got a long way to go.
Had civility, and they were a regal class of Negro, regal class of Negro, regal class of Negro.
You guys understand what he's saying when he says regal class of Negroes, don't you? This is him saying that we're royalty. I'm showing you guys this to prove to you that our oppressor feels that we are the kingdom of Judah. Again, you don't have to believe any of this. I'm just showing you that the oppressor does.
That came down into Africa, and later on, it was the Ashkenazi, the Islamic slave traders as well, that then worked together with the indigenous black Africans to enslave the regal house of Judah. This is what we've got to understand, but you've got to go back before the 16th century to understand the roots of it. Blacks in this country aren't educated enough to go further back. You are a regal Negro class from the royal house of Judah. You see, Africans weren't selling their own people. They were selling a tribe that had encroached upon their land, a higher educated, regal class that had judges, coppersmiths, goldsmiths, and all of this, and they did not assimilate in, and they wanted their stuff, and they wanted to get paid by Islam, and Islam wanted to get paid by the Ashkenazi ship merchants. It was, if you were to look, just look at old maps of the African slaving maps. There's an old map of, I think it's Guinea in maybe the 1720s, 1730s. There's this old map, and it's called a slave coast map. Look on that, it's slave coast map of Guinea, 1736. And you look on West Africa map of 1747, and it says right on the West Africa map of 1747.
Hold on. Coming right back.
Right there on the map.
Maybe that wasn't enough for you, so let me show you this real quick. Ghetto. How many of you guys identify with this word? Have you ever asked yourself, where does this word come from, and why do they associate it with black people? Ghetto 1610s. Part of a city in which Jews are compelled to live. Part of a city in which Jews are compelled to live. Part of a city in which Jews are compelled to live. Especially in Italy. From Italian ghetto, part of a city to which Jews are restricted. Part of a city to which Jews are restricted. Part of a city to which Jews are restricted. Of unknown origin. The various theories trace it to Yiddish get, deed of separation. A special use of Venetian ghetto foundry. There was one near the site of that city's ghetto in 1516. A clipped form of Egitto, Egypt, from Latin Egyptos, presumably in memory of the exile. Presumably in memory of the exile.
Exiled from the kingdom of Judah.
Presumably in memory of the exile. Or Italian Borghetto, small section of a town. Diminutive of Borgo, which is of Germanic origin. Sea borough. Extended by 1899 to crowded urban quarters of other minority groups, especially blacks in U.S. cities, especially blacks in U.S. cities, especially blacks in U.S. cities. This says that the word ghetto was extended to minority groups, especially blacks in U.S. cities, in the year 1899. Slavery was abolished in 1865. Not even 35 years after that, they began associating this word with us. This means the term ghetto was being associated with black people in America, before it was used in Nazi Germany in the 1930s. Donald Sterling, former owner of the Los Angeles Clippers, is a J-Way billionaire who stands at the pinnacle of wealth and power. He represents the elite few whose influence extends far beyond the typical reach of even the most successful millionaires. While most of us go about our daily lives unaware of the vast networks that shape our world, Sterling is right at the center of it. privy to conversations and decisions that affect not only sports, but industries, governments, and economies on a global scale.
It's you liberals who have lifted them up, Howard. Paul.
Conversations and decisions that affect not only sports, but industries, governments, and economies on a global scale.
It's you liberals who have lifted them up, Howard.
Paul, you conservatives make a mistake. You can't afford to strike people without hope. He will become dangerous.
No, Howard, you liberals have let them invade our society. You give them jobs, political jobs.
Paul, you missed the point. It's only the smart ones we move up.
That makes it even worse.
No, we have to move them up. If we leave a smart one in the ghetto, he might develop into a leader against us. But if we raise him up into white society, we neutralize him. He feels compelled to try to act like us. He loses his identity and his racial anger.
That's crazy.
He becomes alien to his brothers. They realize he sold them out and they grow to hate him. He becomes worthless to them and safe for us. No, thank you. In fact, in his love for the creature comforts, except for its color, he's become one of us.
Back in 2014, Donald Sterling's life took a dramatic turn when he was secretly recorded by his mistress, V. Stiviano, making racist remarks. The recordings, which were leaked to the media, led to widespread outrage and ultimately resulted in Sterling being banned from the NBA and forced to sell the Los Angeles Clippers. This scandal tarnished his reputation and exposed the stark contrast between his public persona and his private cultural views. Let's listen to the portion of the convo that TMZ put on their channel.
What's wrong with black people?
Nothing.
What's wrong with you?
It's like talking to an enemy. There's nothing wrong with minorities. They're fabulous. Fabulous. Because you're an enemy to me.
Why?
Because you don't understand.
I don't understand what?
Nothing.
That racism still is alive?
No, there's a culture. There's a culture. There's a culture.
What culture?
People steal certain things. Blacks steal certain things towards blacks. Blacks steal certain things towards other groups. It's been that way historically, and it will always be that way.
But it's not that way in my heart and in my mind.
But maybe you want to adjust to the world.
But why? The world doesn't do anything for me. They don't make me happy.
I don't want to argue with you. I don't want to argue.
I can't be racist in my heart.
And that's good. I'm living in a culture, and I have to live within the culture. So that's the way it is. That's all. I got it. I got the whole message. You live with your heart.
I don't. You're.
You he gotta live in the culture.
I get flexible.
He gotta be racist.
That's the way you were raised, and that's your culture. And I'm respectful.
Well, why do you have to disrespect them? Those are.
Who am I disrespecting?
The world before you.
Who am I disrespecting?
Them?
By walking, you perceive as either a Latina or a white girl. Why should you be walking publicly with black people? Why? Is there a benefit to you?
Is there a benefit to me? Does it matter if they're white or blue or yellow?
I guess that you don't know that. Maybe you're stupid. Maybe you don't know what people say to you. It does matter, yeah. It matters.
Do you know that I'm mixed?
No, I don't know.
You know that I'm mixed.
You told me you were going to remove those. You said, yes, I understand you. I mean, you change from day to day. Wow. So painful. Wow.
People call you and say that I have black people on my Instagram, and it bothers you.
Yeah, it bothers me a lot that you want to broadcast that you're associating with black people. You have to.
You associate with black people.
I'm not you, and you're not me. You're supposed to be a delicate white or a delicate Latina girl.
I'm a mixed girl.
Okay. Well,
and you're in love with me. And I'm black and Mexican, whether you like it or not, whether the world accepts it or not.
Damn.
And you're asking me to remove something that's part of me and in my bloodstream because the world thinks different of me and you're afraid of what they're going to think. because of your upbringing? You want me to have hate towards black people?
I don't want you to hate. That's what people do. I want you to love them privately.
That's crazy.
In your whole life, every day you can be with them. Every single day of your life.
But not in public?
So why publicize it on the
Publicize being
Instagram? And why bring it to my games?
Why bring the black people to the game?
I guess
I
I'm my own publicist.
I really don't want to discuss it anymore. It's over. I don't want to talk about it.
I'm sorry that you feel that.
This nigga really mad, bro. He really mad. Like, bro, you big mad because she talking to black people about something.
It does. It's better to break apart now than to break apart later.
I'm sorry that you still have people around you that are full of racism and hate in their heart. I'm sorry that you're still racist in your heart. I'm sorry that you live in a world that's still...
How about your whole life? Every day, you could do whatever you want. You could sleep with them, you could bring them in, you could do whatever you want. The little I ask you is not to promote it on that and not to bring it to my games.
I don't bring anyone to the game.
Okay, then. There's nothing to argue about.
I know.
Yeah, she said you sleeping with that nigga. You said you sleeping with that nigga and you bring him to my games.
I really don't feel like going anywhere. I don't feel like going to Europe. I don't feel like just going to go.
Bro, you just a racist, dog. Donald Sterling, yo.
Like someone that I would stop seeing that person.
I'm sorry, I don't have any more friends. What would you like me to do? Skin color out of my skin?
Is that a real issue, or are you making something up?
I mean, I just don't understand what the issue is.
There's nothing wrong with you or your skin color. Why are you saying these things? To upset me?
We upset now because she's saying she mixed, she got black in her. You crazy, dog. Something wrong with you, bro.
I'm sorry.
Something wrong with you,
dog. Both of us. Everything you say to me is so painful. Do I want you to change the color of your skin? You know how to really hurt somebody. And just instead of saying, I understand.
I don't understand why you can have so much hate towards minorities.
I don't have any hate. I love them.
I cannot understand.
Why would you say that?
How a person like you who's elevated, who's here, still feels above the world and can't even be seen with someone in which is considered of a different skin color.
They let me with me all day long, all night long.
I can't believe that a man who's educated, a man who's a scholar, a man who's...
Well, believe it and stop talking about it. Believe it and stop talking about it. Believe it and stop talking about it. Let's finish our discussion with a period, okay? You're not making any good points. You can't believe this man. That's all I am. I'm not a good person in your eyes. If I was a good person, you would say, I can't believe this. I can't believe that.
What am I
But you're all lies. I love them.
Look at all the negativity is coming from...
There's no negativity. I love everybody. I'm just saying, in your lousy Instagrams, you don't have to have yourself with walking with black people. You don't have to. If you want to, do it.
That's crazy.
If it's white people, it's okay?
That's a good question. If it's for white people, hey, hold on, go back.
If it's white people, it's okay?
Hold on, we gotta go back.
You don't have to have yourself with walking with black people. You don't have to. If you want to, do it.
If it's white people, it's okay? If it was Larry Bird, would it have made a difference?
You're just a big fighter. I can see who would want to live with a woman like you. Who would want to live with a woman? All you ever wanted to do is...
Who you want with a woman like her? God niggas tripping.
You're a born fighter.
I'm sorry that you're mad.
You have the worst mouth.
Why are you so angry?
He not used to people talking to him like that. That's what that's about.
Well, why would you bring up Larry Bird?
This man is a goddamn billionaire, bro. He's not used to people talking to him like that. Like when she started talking like that, he like. That's how he like, bro. Like he ain't no. Let's keep going with it, bro.
He got to do it. You can walk all night long with your sisters.
You walk off.
Your family.
I saw someone I admire Magic Johnson.
Okay, good.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
He's made a lot of changes for his community, for the world, for the people, for the minorities. He's helped a lot of people.
Why are you forcing this down my throat? I'm finished talking to you.
I'm finished
I have
talking.
nothing more to say.
And I took a picture with someone I admire.
Good.
He said he got nothing more to say.
And he happens to be black, and I'm sorry.
I think it's nice.
Damn, son.
I know him well, and he should be admired. And I'm just saying that it's too bad you can't admire him privately. And during your entire life, your whole life, admire him. Bring him here, feed him, I don't care. You can do anything. But don't put him on an Instagram so the world has to see, so they have to call me. And don't bring him into my game.
They said, your girl, they called him like your girl was with.
I don't know him personally.
Your girl was with old boy.
Please.
This nigga crying.
I'm sorry.
Damn, son.
You don't
crying
you didn't make you feel better.
No, you could never make me feel better. You're a fighter.
I had you sit through that 9-minute clip for 3 reasons. First, I wanted you to hear the J-Way, billionaire Donald Sterling, openly claim that he belongs to a certain culture, specifically a culture that hates us. One thing we know about culture is that culture isn't just about one individual. So we know that there are many other wealthy people partaking in the same culture as Sterling. The second reason I played this clip is because it reveals how deeply these people despise us. They'll let you work for their companies. They'll sign you to lucrative sports contracts. But in their hearts, they truly envy you. The third reason is that I wanted you to hear everything TMZ thought was worthy of airing on the channel. Because there's a part of that conversation they conveniently left out. And I'm about to play it for you now.
Honey, if you makes you happy, I will remove all of the black people from my Instagram.
You said that before. You said I understand.
I did remove the people that were independently on my Instagram that are black.
Well, then why did you start saying that you didn't? You just said you didn't remove them. You just removed them.
I didn't remove Matt Kemp and Magic Johnson.
Why?
But I thought Matt Kemp was mixed, and he was okay, just like me. He's lighter and whiter than me. I met his mother.
You think I'm a racist?
I don't think you're a
Yes,
racist.
you do. Yes, you do.
I think you.
Evil heart.
I don't think so. I think you have an amazing heart, honey. I think the people around you have a poison mind and have a way of thinking.
It's the world. You go to Israel. The blacks are just treated like dogs.
So do you have to treat them like that too?
The white. We live in a society. We live in a culture. We live in a culture. We live in a culture.
Did you guys hear that? What was it about that clip that TMZ didn't want us to hear? This is Donald Sterling speaking candidly, unaware that the woman he's speaking to is recording him. He just said there are 2 types of Jays. There's black Jays and there's white Jays out there. Have to do with Magic Johnson over here. This highlights the existence of a shared mindset among the ultra-elite who think and believe in much the same way as Sterling. He openly stated that he didn't want her to bring black people to his games. Understand that Donald Sterling is part of a group of some of the wealthiest men in the world, and this is the shared mentality they collectively hold. You don't have to believe it. I'm just proving to you that they do believe it. He said he belongs to a culture, which means the views he expressed are not isolated. They are indicative of a larger, troubling culture within the upper echelons of wealth and power. When you understand this, you'll also begin to understand why they do the things they do. Everything will all become much clearer to you.
Can you remember any particular words that Interscope would censor on songs? Because I know there's some songs where, like on Method Man's verse on Got My Mind Made Up, there's certain words that are like silenced out.
Man, that was a big controversy. Big controversy. We can call our black women bitches and hoes and all that. It was a verse, I forget, on either Snoop where he said, and originally it's supposed to be, my Jew bitch, my Jew bitch. They made him change it to something else. But they would not let us use the word Jew or Jewish. They would not let us use the word Jew or Jewish.
So you heard what Reggie said about Interscope Records and how they would not allow artists under their umbrella to use the word Jew or Jewish. This lets you know that the owner of Interscope Records is also a part of the culture that Donald Sterling was speaking of. For some reason, they don't want their artists to say the J word on records. Geez, I wonder why. We'll be speaking more about Jimmy Iovine later. When you understand that this is how the oppressor thinks, then black identity extremism, COINTELPRO, and the preventing the rise of a black messiah will all start to make sense. Now let me show you another clip from a movie that I didn't write or direct.
They put that together, man. That shit hard, bro.
In fact, this movie was filmed in the 1970s, before a lot of us were even born. The Message, originally known as Muhammad, Messenger of God, is a 1976 epic film, directed and produced by Mustafa Akkad, that chronicles the life and times of Muhammad, who is never directly depicted. The last clip I showed you was all about Christopher Columbus. This next clip is all about Muhammad and the early beginnings of the Islamic faith. I want you guys to see the way we are depicted in this movie.
You're a friend of Anajashi the King. You're a friend of Anajashi the King. You're a friend of Anajashi the King. Yes. Can you use that friendship?
I think I can bring them back. Yes.
Abyssinia.
Rise up, Amr. It is nothing you may ask for that we will not give.
Lion of Judah, Lion of Judah, Lion of Judah. I don't know where to begin.
You have our friendship. Begin there.
Certain runaway slaves have escaped from us into your kingdom.
Slaves go back, as you no doubt would return our slaves to us.
There are, however, some free men among them, rebels.
Rebels? If there's disturbance in that area, why am I not informed?
They are rebels in religion.
At one time or another, all religions were rebellions. The bodies of slaves are of the world and within our disposal. But as Jesus Christ is our shepherd, the souls of men are his sheep.
These are Arabs who have betrayed the religion of their fathers. They follow a lunatic they call a prophet.
But I cannot put souls into chains without hearing them.
What you guys asked serial killer Michael Myers, what you guys have to understand is that the man who directed this movie was of Syrian descent. He is also the producer of all the Halloween movies, with the masked serial killer Michael Myers. So this isn't just some bootleg director playing games with a camera in his backyard. And for some odd reason, this Syrian director thought to put Negro men in his critically acclaimed movie, giving them a kingdom of their own that was clearly ruled and controlled by them, giving them positions of power and authority, and referring to the Negro King as the Lion of Judah. This also shows you that the filmmakers in Hollywood believe these things about us, which is why they put it in their movies. But they don't just put it in their movies, they put it in their dictionaries as well. These definitions are coming out of the new Complete Bible Dictionary, and I didn't write any of it. First, we're going to look at the definition listed for Noah's son, Ham. After the flood, the world was repopulated by Noah's 3 sons, and according to the Bible, everyone on earth descended from one of these 3 men. Let's see who the Bible dictionary says the descendants of Ham are today. Ham, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites. So as you can see, the Bible dictionary said the dark African nations descended from Noah's son Ham, but it also excluded the Negroes from that equation. This shows that our oppressor does not believe that we are Africans. He believes that we are a different nation of dark-skinned people. This is the reason why Muhammad Ali was not allowed to eat in the restaurants in Louisville back in the early 50s, but the Africans were allowed to enter, reminding you guys again that it's not about our skin color. Now let's look up the new Complete Bible definition of the word ruddy and see what they have listed there. And it reads, ruddy, a word used to refer to a red or fair complexion, in contrast to the dark skin of the Hebrews. This shows you that the people who put this Bible dictionary together believed that the Hebrews were a dark-skinned people. From here, let's go to the International Standard Version Bible Dictionary and see what they have under the word ruddy. And it reads, ruddy is the form taken by the adjective red when used as a term of praise of the human skin. And this is its use in the Bible. The Hebrew and Greek words are all usual words for red, or to be red. The dark-skinned Hebrews found great beauty in a clear complexion. As you guys can see, the people who put the International Standard Version Bible Dictionary together also agree that the Hebrews were a dark-skinned people. I can show you stuff like this all day, because the amount of information they've put out there is endless. But I have a lot of stuff I have to cover. And for the sake of time, I'm going to keep it as quick and as simple as I can. But it shows you that I'm not just making this stuff up. Their own Bible dictionaries say that the Hebrews were dark-skinned, and that they believe that the Negroes are not Africans or descendants of Noah's son Ham. Now, let's talk about the Black Messiah and what Cat Williams said about them having an idea there is a Messiah coming.
Just because you're different, they always want to kind of put somebody into a box.
Well, that's the shallow end of it. On the deep end of it, they have an idea that there's a Messiah coming.
So I'm about to tell you guys the coldest story you've never been told about. And this is probably the most important part of this entire video.
Hey, I'll probably come back on that part right there. Let me see. I'll come back on that part. And then y'all keep me in the Karma Cafe, like, subscribe, share, hit notification, please.